Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So, continuing. Once again, this still falls under the same teak, which the state of Texas expects you all to be able to, down here, use informal arguments to establish facts about the angle sum and exterior angles of triangles, the angles created when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, and the angle criterion for similarity of triangles. Alright, so up here, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention up here. Alright, so exterior angles and remote interior angles. An interior angle of a triangle is formed by two sides of the triangle. An exterior angle is formed by one side of the triangle and the extension of an adjacent side. Each exterior angle has two remote interior angles. A remote interior angle is an interior angle that is not adjacent to the exterior angle. Alright, so let's kind of put this in easier terms to understand, or try to at least. Alright, so if we read right here, maybe attention right there, they're telling us that in this little depiction, this little diagram, angle 1 and angle 2 and angle 3, those are all interior angles because they are located inside the triangle. And also, before we move on, you all need to know that the sum of all the interior angles in a triangle have to equal 180 degrees. It has to. That's one of the properties of a triangle. Here, angle 4, ladies and gentlemen, that is an exterior angle. It's not inside, so it's not interior. It's an exterior angle. Alright, so, but down here they're giving us some more information. Angle 1 and angle 2 are remote interior angles to angle 4. Because they're not touching it, guys. They're not touching it. You see how this angle 2 and angle 1, they're not adjacent, or they're not adjacent to angle 4. So that's why they are referred to as remote interior angles. Alrighty, so now moving on. Over here, down here, they're giving us this information here. So there are some attributes that we need to know. I just gave you guys some information earlier. We know that all the angles in a triangle, that they have to add up to 180. Well, in this situation, what adds up to 180? This angle plus that angle plus that angle. So we can set this up like this. 70 plus 65 plus x equals 180 degrees. Let's combine like terms. We can combine those two. We get 135 plus x being equal to 180. Now we subtract 135 from both sides, ladies and gentlemen, and we end up establishing that that angle measures 45 degrees. So I can erase this here, and I'm going to substitute that with what we solved for, 45 degrees. But if we were to solve for this missing angle right there, there's two ways that we can go about doing that. So I'm going to label that as x. Alright, so if I was just to focus just on this part right here, we know, well, I'm just going to break it apart like this. It makes it a little easier. Alright, so we know that that is 45 degrees. And as we have already established previously, we know that a straight angle, which is this right here, measures 180 degrees. Well, in this case, what measures 180 degrees? Or what sums up to 180? This angle plus this angle have to add up to 180. So x plus 45 equals 180. Subtract 45 from both sides, ladies and gentlemen. Those two cancel out, and we've established that that angle measures 135 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, but that was one way of doing it. So we already know what that angle measures. We know that it measures 135 degrees. But there's another way of doing that. There's a property, well, when it comes to remote interior angles, where I may say these two angles in comparison to that one, they are, how can I say, I don't want to say congruent, but they measure the same, or they equal the same amount. What I mean by that, the sum of this angle plus the sum of that angle, 70 plus 65 equals 135, or may I say equals the sum or the measure of that angle. That's another way of doing it, ladies and gentlemen.